All right. Welcome back. It's been a while. Yeah, I know I'll be doing these videos sporadically. So I've been meaning to actually talk about this topic for a little while now, but I've just been so busy with the dropping that EP, the podcast. It's Christmas time and life, work, everything. So I haven't been able to touch on this topic, but this is a question that I get asked a lot, for obvious reasons. And the question is, why do you say quote unquote black or so-called black when you're speaking about black people? That's the question I get asked a lot from those of you who I speak to, on a personal level, and those of you who listen to the podcast or any of my previous videos that I've made. That's the number one question that I get asked. Why do you say quote unquote black and so-called black? And so this video is just going to be me answering that question and providing reasons why you shouldn't use that word to describe yourself or subscribe to. Okay, so first things first. Black is a color. As you can see on the screen, when you Google the word black, this is what shows up. That's black. Now, I've never in my life met a human being that was this shade of pigment. Never in my entire life. I've never seen it. Probably never will see it. Me, I'm considered quote unquote black here in America, and probably globally, I probably would be considered black at this point, because the moniker has been accepted by almost everyone to our detriment. And I'll get more into that as we go on. But so, black is a color. Now, to say that you are black, to say that you are this, is just false. That is false. Black does not signify any kind of lineage or culture. Therefore, there is no power behind it. There's nothing backing it. Black is a color, just like yellow, red, orange, magenta, teal. Those are all colors. Tools used to create and add life to, your home or your car or whatever the case may be. They're just colors. I remember growing up as a little boy in Brooklyn. I remember the first time someone called me black. I was at this park. It wasn't even a park. It was just like a swing set. You know how it be in the hood. It was just like a swing set, a random ass swing set. And then there was some kids around. I was there, and then somebody said something along the lines of, "Oh, shut up, you black boy," or whatever like that. Mind you, we were all quote unquote black, so I'm sure this little girl might have heard this in her home or something like that. So then I'm like thinking to myself, then that's the first time I've ever heard of that. I've never been called that to that point. I'm thinking to myself, I know what black is, but I'm not black. Black is what we see right here on the screen. So I'm like, no. And then I'll never forget, some other little girl said to the one girl that called me black, said, "Oh, no, he's not black. We're African American." And then I was like, well, what the hell? Obviously, I didn't say what the hell is that, but that's what I was thinking. What? I've never heard of either one of these things. African American, black. Oh, so fast forward to today. Black is a color. It does not denote any kind of lineage or who you are as a people. It's a color. Well, actually, it could be, some consider black to be the absent of color. which would make it colorless, like avoid. So it all depends on how you look at it. But at the end of the day, it should not be used to speak about to speak of people. It doesn't. There's no history. When you say Black history, like what you talking about, the history of the color, the etymology of the word black. What do that's not. Black history is whatever the hell you make it at that point, because any kind of black quote unquote culture is a false culture. Now, if I was to sit here and say, oh, I'm a Seminole, I'm a Seminole Native American, you know, now that's a culture that's distinct. Or if I was to say, like for instance, my best friend, Big Mike, his family's from Nigeria, and they're the Igbo tribe. Now that denotes lineage. That denotes specific culture and ethnic rituals, all together in that, So, for instance, Mike would, if he was to go to Nigeria and be around his people, there's a certain way that these people should be conducting themselves, because it's the tribe. The tribe has their rules and regulations, for lack of better terms, and that's what they all subscribe to. And the ethics, for the most part, how they conduct themselves. Now, when you say black power, black, is what you make it, because this is not real. It's not based in anything tangible. It's a color, okay? I know I keep saying the same thing over and over again for the most part, but this is only point number one, but it's super important. You are more important than the color, all right? Now, another reason why I say so-called black is because, like I said, for instance, my friend Mike, or anybody, somebody from an Aboriginal from Australia, and if you don't know what an Aboriginal is, look up the word Aboriginal, and then you can look up different Aboriginal people to different parts of the world. Now, for the most part, Aboriginal people are considered quote unquote black because they're dark skinned. Now, as an Aboriginal person from Australia and an Aboriginal American, and I didn't say Native American, I said Aboriginal American, and if you don't know what that is, please look that up as well. Are they the same? No. Even if you go to Nigeria, like I'm gonna use that country as an example, because obviously Mike's family's from Nigeria, so I know a little bit about Nigeria. So with that being said, his tribe is Igbo, right? Now, there's different tribes in the country of Nigeria. There's dozens, probably even hundreds of tribes in that one country in Nigeria. Now, are these people all the same color? Yes, they are all the same color. Now, I'm not saying everyone in Nigeria is quote unquote black. Now, obviously, you have Europeans that live there, and you probably have some Asians that live there as well. But you know what I'm talking about. So, are they all quote unquote black? Yes, they would be considered quote unquote black. But that's the point. Who is considering them that, and why? Because they will tell you, first and foremost, no, I'm Igbo tribe, or no, I'm such and such tribe, and that means boom, 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 boom. Period. That's, and my lineage is so on and so forth. Now, if I were to go over there, or somebody from here were to go over there and start calling them black, and try to get them all to come together on under this one moniker, which is black, which has no meaning and no power, is doing them a great disservice. A great disservice. Now, for instance, when you look at Europeans, and you talk to an Italian person, if you were to call an Italian person an Irishman, or confuse him for an Irishman, I'm sure you will be met with great disdain from that Italian man. He'd probably be like, what the hell's wrong with you? No, goddamn Irish. I'm Italian, and they're all from Europe. If I wanted to say someone even closer, like a Greek, if you wanted to confuse an Italian person for a Greek person, the same rules would apply. They'd be like, whoa, hold on, I'm Italian, I'm not Greek. And they live in close proximity together on the same continental body. And then what people do over here, you call them white. Call them white. Because they're so dumbed down over here. And the only real quote-unquote white people that accept that moniker white are the white trash, Who if you were to ask them, hey, what are you? They were like, oh, I'm a mud. I'm a this. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, they have no knowledge of self, and neither do our people. So those are the people that you see going back and forth in this silly ass fucking quote unquote race war, because race is a social construct that was created in the 15th century by the European conquestors. I might have just made that word up, but during the European conquest of the 15th century, that's when race was initially brought into the mainstream, psyche, and used as a tool to separate and divide people based off of arbitrary physical attributes and things like that. So again, race is nothing that we should be going off of. And if you say race, and then on top of that, oh, what race are you? I'm black. No, that's just like a double negative. But in this case, it's not a positive because race is not real. It's fictitious, and black is a color that cannot denote anything of worth of you or your history. And that's another reason why I want to do a topic on Black History Month. And I think we'll be touching on that in the podcast in February, obviously. But I have a whole lot to say about that as well. But back to my point. Not all black people are the same. Just like the Irishman and the Greek man is different. Just like the African over here, like the quote unquote black man in America, as opposed to someone from Ghana, are not the same. We need to start understanding that there are differences. Just because everyone has the same complexion as you, you cannot just assume that, oh, we're on the same team and yada, yada, yada. No, it's not like that. It's not like that, So, and that's an initiative that I have with the whole Pan-Africanism. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge student of Marcus Garvey. I think he was a great, righteous man who had a great, clear, clean mind for the most part. And really believed in everything that he was preaching for, as far as I've read, and I commend him for that. That's he accomplished great things in his life. So I'm very proud to consider myself a student of his philosophies. But with that being said, Pan-Africanism, obviously I'm not for that, because if you don't know what Pan-Africanism is, actually I could just Google it for you right now. Pan-Africanism. Bada boom, bada bang. Pan-Africanism, the idea that peoples of African descent have common interests and should be unified. Historically, Pan-Africanism has often taken the shape of a political or cultural movement. So to sum that up, Pan-Africanism says that all black people across the world are under the same umbrella and we should all unite. My issue with that is what I just said. The only common denominator is our skin tone. But just because we all have the same skin tone doesn't mean we're all the same. Doesn't mean we have all the same beliefs and rituals and codes of conduct. We don't share the same history. Not every quote unquote black person in America was victims of the slave trade. Not every freaking black person in America, quote unquote black person in America, can trace lineage back to being slaves. Not all of us were slaves. Yes, some were. Many were. There were slaves here. But there were many black men that came over free or that were already here that were free. The Aboriginals, the intermingled. So, we have to do our research and that's why Black History Month does such a great disservice to our people in our community by just every year just pushing this narrative that we all came from slaves, we're all slaves and stuff. But that's not true. It's not true. Were many of us slaves? Yes. But were we all slaves? Is that what we all come from? No, not at all. Okay. So now, back to the point. Another reason why I do not subscribe to the term black and why I say so-called black, quote unquote black, is because when you say black, you're forever tied to white. It's what you call duality, dichotomy. It's just you're forever linked, because that's the opposite. Now, if I were to say to you, I'm gonna say some words to you. I'm gonna leave some space. I'm gonna say a word, and I'm gonna leave like I'm gonna pause, and then I guarantee you, in your mind, I know what word is gonna pop into your mind. So, ready? All right. So, black, white, of course. Left, up, out, east, sun, nighttime. I guarantee you, as I said all those words, you were saying the opposite, because that's what happens. If I say easy, you say hard. That's just what or soft and hard. That's just what it is. It's a duality. So when you subscribe to black, you're always going to be linked with white. So whenever you say, "Oh, black injustices and black power and black this," but by not even happenstance, just the way it is set up, it is always going to result in on the other side, like a seesaw. Like, okay, so white what? So if there's black injustice, then there's white this. And no, these things are not exclusively linked. They're not. But we live in a time, and we've been indoctrinated to such a deep level that we believe them to be linked, and that there's no way around it. Now, for instance, when you look at other communities and cultures within the United States of America that don't subscribe to being called by a color, they're successful, and I'm not going to say they're successful or more successful than the quote unquote blacks, solely because they don't. Wow, sorry, some ice just fell on my balcony. Solely because they don't go by a color, but obviously there's many reasons for it, but that happens to be one of them. So you don't see the Chinese man or the Chinese community out there saying, "Oh well, because of the white man and this and because of that." No, they're doing what they have to do because they know at the end of the day they're accountable for them and themselves, and whatever the case may be. Now, am I saying that Asian people get it harder, or just as hard as quote unquote black people? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am doing is I'm shaking that victim mentality that is attached to that black white paradigm. Well, not even paradigm. It's just that duality, that black white duality. We have to shake that. Every time you say, "Oh," as a black man, and then the next word out of your mouth is probably going to be something about the white man, and we have to shake that. You have to be independent and accountable for your own actions, and that way you can achieve what the hell you want to achieve. As long as you're worried about somebody else, they ain't worried about you. Now, when you, like for instance, fellas or ladies, when you got a dude or you got a girl all up on you, like just thirsty, and they might be attractive to a degree or they might be cool, whatever, but they all up on you, so that makes you like, oh my God, like just back the fuck up, chill out. You know what I mean? It's always something with you, just chill out. But the second that person chooses to stop fucking with you or they move on, that's when you start calling for them, like, oh, what happened to such and such or whatever? Oh, let me see what's going on. If that person's independent and doing well, then you know what? Then that's when you start calling for them. So as a people, as long as we're always with our hand out and calling for the white man and because the white all of that, you know what? You're never gonna get shit besides freaking backhanded pity, and look down upon and scoff that because it's a joke. It's an absolute joke, and to think that after all these years, it's still the same, and people don't like what I'm saying isn't revelatory. This is just observation. Just looking around. Wanting to find a solution to our issues, our quote unquote black issues. And this is part of it. Is this number one on the list? No, but people ask me this question all the time. So I'm going into reasons why I don't, because my life is not forever linked with white at all. Okay, when I do things, I don't think about what the white man or when stuff like that. I don't think about the white man. I think about what the hell I got to do to be a better provider and a better leader for my family and people that look like me. That's it. Now, because of that, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, well, no, black is that," and shut up, you black, and those people, you know who you are? You are the wokety wokes out there, and that's fine. If you don't want to take in what I'm saying and understand it on a 3-dimensional level, then that's fine, man. You know what? Different strokes for different folks. This message is not for you, obviously. It's above you. But for those of you who are interested, message me. You know, we can definitely go into more about this, and I can explain to you. I could reference some books for you, some reading material, that way you can expand your mind on all of this. But obviously, back to the main point, black is not a people. Black is not a culture. You can't have a culture called black, because black is a color. And last time I checked, colors don't have culture. You know what's funny? When I see like the whole like Black Lives Matter thing, and most of you know how I feel about the Black Lives Matter movement. It's just a Marxist movement. Like, it's so damn clear. They made it clear. The fact that people want to say, "Oh, well, the movement and yada yada is different." Look, man, nah, cut the shit, okay? Because listen, if you're out there protesting, look around who you're protesting with. A whole bunch of women, more than likely a whole bunch of members of the LGBTQ community, because they hijacked the goddamn movement. Well, actually, they never hijacked the movement. The movement was always for them. It's just a guise. So the so-called black man, yes, I'm talking to you right now, you're used as a pawn in all of this. They don't care about you. I don't see any legislation being passed or any legislation being talked about that's solely going to help the quote-unquote so-called black man. We've been used since the Emancipation Proclamation to help out other immigrants, quote unquote minorities, and obviously under minorities falls the LGBTQ community, and we were just used as pawns, man. But yeah, the black quote unquote culture, what people like to call the culture, I'm gonna attack y'all right now. That is, it's not real. For the 15th time, it's a made up culture, quote unquote, based off of a bunch of misconceptions projected onto the blacks by other races. So it's pretty much how they expect you to act. And then what we do is we perpetuate it by, oh, that's how we act. We don't let these people down in that. We've pretty much turned into a caricature. It's laughable, is what it is. When you see movies, especially movies directed and produced abroad, whenever they are discussing or have characters that would be considered quote unquote black, it's all a caricature. And it's funny because you watch it and you laugh and, oh, ha ha, that's funny, ha. But they laughing too. These other cultures, these other countries, they're laughing too. Only thing is they're not laughing with you, they're laughing at you. Because you want to walk around and you want to freaking be proud of the quote unquote culture of no snitching. So pretty much allowing lawlessness to just run vibrant throughout your communities, and therefore you have no accountability. No one's being held accountable. You got women and children being killed in the streets, senseless crime. That's the culture. Having a terrible diet, eating all this high sodium, all this pork, all this chitlins and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have some super wokey wokes and the blackity blacks out there like, oh, he's self-hating. So no, I'm not. I'm straight from Brooklyn, New York. My family is from, my mom's family is from the South. So, and that's pretty much who I grew up with. So I know what the hell I'm talking about. And that's just the cold hard truth. Period, point blank. If y'all don't like it, go kick rocks, because you probably a fucking loser anyway. But at the end of the day, that quote unquote culture is literally detrimental to us. And it needs to go. It needs to go. What we need to do, stop calling ourselves black. And for those of you who are out there asking, probably, because I'm sure there are some, oh, well, then what should you be called? You know what? That's not important right now. What's important is restoring order to the black family, to the black community. That's what's important. Dispelling the gang culture, the crime culture, all of that from the community. Starting black businesses. Keeping the money in the communities. That's what's important. You know, that's way more important than what the hell we should be called right now. Unfortunately, unlike most other walks of people, we don't have that tie due to slavery. That happened. So because of that, you know, these are the circumstances right now. So rather than waiting around to figure out a goddamn name what to call your fucking self, how about you focus on the more important tasks? And for those of you that's gonna say, oh well, then why not just stay with black? I just spoke for how many minutes? 25 minutes about why not. Because when you subscribe to being called black, that is part of your own demise. You're tying yourself to white, which is we live in a white society, especially if you live in America. This is a white society. We're 13% of the population. And that number hasn't changed over the past half a century. It hasn't changed. We were the number 2 minority, quote unquote minority, in the country. Now we're number 3. Our numbers haven't changed. Oh, well, that's not bad, is it? Yes, it is bad. Why haven't our numbers changed? It's still 13% of the population. Other percentages of other demographics, I already told you we've been in past or second place. So why number 3 on the goddamn list and population percentage is comparing everything that they fucking do to number 1? I don't know. I have no idea why that's the case or why you think that's a good way to move. They control it. They control it. So let them continue to control it and just focus on what the hell you can focus on, which is you control your life, your family, your house. And I'm talking to the dudes out here. I'm talking to the dudes. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of strong, you know, quote unquote black women out there, but that's like 0.01% of y'all. Okay, the majority of y'all, you know, y'all just out here, you know, freaks and geeks running in the street, acting crazy, don't really know what the hell you want. You think you're strong and independent, but you're not. You know, you're living off government subsidies. You know, you don't know how to teach your kids shit. You don't even know how to pick a goddamn man. So, you know, don't like what I'm saying? Like I said, if the shoe fits, wear it. And if not, you don't have to. It's that simple. But you know what? That's going to be it for this one because y'all niggas done got me tight. They're just talking about all this nonsense. But I'm going to try to do another video soon. I might even do another one tomorrow because I'm off. If I do, I do. If not, whatever. Peace out.